I'm a survivor. I will survive, I will survive. And I'm a firm believer. We'll forever shine, just to stay alive. That simple means it. Nobody can hold me man. Nobody can change my energy. Nobody can turn me sick. I will let alone negativity. Nobody can hold me man. Nobody can change my energy. Nobody can. Everybody show me some strength. No weakness, show me a lion come. Strength, no weakness, show them who we are. Strength, no weakness, show me a lion come. Everybody strength, no weakness, show them who we are. And when you roll, your enemies they must tremble. Your enemies they must tremble. Yo, and when you roll, everything has to humble. Everything has to humble. I'm a go-getter. I just go hard. I just go hard. And I'm a kind of fella. Put my trust in God. Put my trust in God. That simple means say nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can change my energy. Nobody can.
This is Ridealong Live, where everyone has a story to tell.
You gotta be firm in this time, son. You gotta be strong in this time, son.
You have to be strong in this time. Well, yeah, as you're coming, go ahead and shove the thing, shove the thing. Everybody, welcome to Tuesday on the ride. Well, yeah, I want all you to do like if all you seen me for the first time for the week. Like if this is the first time you guys seen me for the week. Alright? So when I come back in, I want you guys to just start pressing love like crazy love. I mean what kind of flimsy love. Show me some real love. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Hold on. Let's start over again. Let's do it all over again.
Yeah.
Hey! How the hell you guys doing? Hey!
You gotta be firm in this time, son.
Everybody press the love. Everybody press the love. Like if you want to see me for the first time for the week. Let me go ahead and share. Hold on, guys. I'll deal with all the adjustments. Let me see who don't show me love. I'm watching. Hold on. Where you there? I want to show me some crazy love, man. Press the love. Share the thing. How you guys doing? In fact, today is the first day some of you guys see me for the week, right? Because yesterday, pardon me a second, guys. Let me just start a watch party real quick. Yesterday, boy, a little again. Ollie would have never hear about me. Trust me. Let me tell you a quick story. Why I couldn't do the show yesterday. So I decided to go to Canada, right? That's what I often do. I go to Canada, right? Canada is a nice place. So I decided to go to Canada. And I went to Canada. Thank you so much, Lillian. Thank you so much, Lydia James. So I went to Canada. Oh, Lord have mercy. Crossed the border and everything, because you know Canada border is closed, right? Went to Canada, went across the border. Well, before I went across the border, I gave my papers for inspection and all that other stuff. It was fine. I crossed. The lady gave me back my information, my travel document, and I proceeded to leave. So you leave, you pay your toll, and then you're in Canada. As soon as I crossed that toll agent booth, right, I realized that she didn't give me back all my travel documents. I was missing some documents. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I look all over my car. I can't find those documents. Where the hell is those documents? So I said, you know what? I'm going to just have to walk back to the agent to ask her for my travel documents. So that's what I did. I parked the car on the shoulder and I went back to ask her for my travel documents. Wouldn't you do the same thing? I did that. So I walked, and as I walked back, I realized that I was walking back on a highway. So I'm right in between the USA and Canada on the freaking highway. I look left, I look right. I didn't see no cars across the street. I proceeded to go back into the US, walking by foot from Canada back into the US.
Wow.
I'm walking because I want my travel documents, right? Wouldn't you do the same thing? I walk back, ladies and gentlemen, until I started to hear sirens. Yes, sirens, freaking sirens. When I look, I saw that lights was flashing. Ladies and gentlemen, I walk into restricted, violated territories until the siren started to go off. And obviously, I alarm a whole set of people. Then I saw cars coming. I one police car coming at me, and I saw one guy on the speaker. What are you doing here? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I was in between the USA and Canada. 1 foot in the US, 1 foot in Canada, going back to get my travel document. When I saw the thing started to make noise, and I had on my mask, and it says Black Panther, I felt like a vigilante. Because I was like, yo, what's happening? I had to put my hands up in the air like this and walk with my papers in my hand because I didn't want nobody to,
Shoot
a black guy wearing a Black Panther shirt, a dreadlocks guy, you know what I mean? I was scared beyond my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I walked past, police came, and they asked me what I was doing here. I had to identify myself, tell them what I was there for. They proceeded to go look for my travel document, which I couldn't find, by the way. They couldn't find my travel document. The guy said, you just walk past back right where you came from and go as fast as you could. And call this number. Don't walk back here in violated territories anymore. You ever feel scared and well, just scared? Really scared to the point where you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if someone is going to come up from a roof and shoot at you. But then you're thinking, but I need this stuff because how am I going to get back to the US? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have never felt so scared in my life. I was standing 1 foot in Canada, 1 foot in the USA, in violated zone, place that I shouldn't be, only because I wanted to get my travel document. And I'm in Canada now. I'm like, how the hell am I going to get back into the US without these documents in my hands? I'll tell you guys another definition about the story at the end. So you gotta wait for the last part of the story at the end of the show. It wasn't nice. It wasn't nice, guys. It was not nice. So anyway, I had to not do the show yesterday because I had to sort out some things. I'll tell you guys the end of the story at the end of the show. So you gotta wait for the end of the story because this is not nice. This wasn't nice at all. Anyway, I don't want to take up any more time. Rena. Oh, Lord have mercy. Rena, your boy almost. Rena. It was almost for me. It wasn't like the church. It wasn't like the time when I went into the church. It was worse than that. Anyway, I don't want to take up any more time. Let me bring in my guest for today. Let me bring in my beautiful guest for the day. Her name is Irene Monique. Irene Monique, how are you doing, my dear?
Hello, how are you?
I am good. Irene, you heard my dilemma, right?
I did.
Irene, I have never felt so scared in my entire life.
I can imagine.
It was very, very, very bad.
Right.
Yes. I'll tell the end of the story. So yesterday I couldn't do the program. So today is the first day for the week that I'm on the show, and you're my first guest for the week.
Okay, I'm honored.
Yes, I'm honored. I'm the honored one. So Irene Monique, do I call you Irene or do I call you Monique?
Aaron.
Erin, sorry. Erin.
There you go.
Erin. Not call you Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
I call you Erin. Erin,
Yeah.
how are you doing
Yes.
today, my dear?
I am doing well. How are you?
Okay. Well,
Now that you're back in the US and
yes.
on US soil.
Ah, Lord have mercy. But
Hmm.
Erin, I know you're not here to listen my Canada US story. In fact, I'm here to listen your story. It's all about you today.
Okay.
Before
Trying
we
to get in the
start,
way of the camera.
yeah, just move to the
Okay.
opposite direction. So when you feel like you should move to the left, you move to the right. No, no, move yourself, move your body to the other side.
Okay.
Right?
There
Okay.
we go.
That's better.
There we are.
That's right. Right there.
I guess.
Almost.
Okay.
Almost. All right. So Erin, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us some 411 on the person. The beautiful lady.
Thank you. Well, I am a woman, a mother. I am a singer, songwriter, actress, um, and aspiring author and motivational speaker as well. I have endured a lot in my life, so I have a lot to talk about.
What makes you, because I know people who become motivational speakers,
Hmm.
they went through some experiences in their life. So they're speaking from a point of experience, stuff that they
Hmm.
went through, right?
Right.
What makes you that qualified person to be in that position to enlighten and empower people that might be going through some traumatic experience in their lives?
Experience. Experience is the best teacher. And so I am able to offer motivation and encouragement to not give up and to keep pressing forward through experiences, very traumatic and dramatic, life changing and lifelong experiences.
Let's start with the young Erin growing up. What was some of
Okay.
those experiences? Let's go back there a bit. Tell us about that
Hmm.
early experiences.
Had a lot of I grew up in trauma. I
Uh,
grew up in it. So trauma and drama was a natural thing. I am a survivor. I was a victim as a child. I am a survivor of incest and sexual assault and abuse, rape, um, for a large part of my life.
you are a victim, you said?
I was a victim. Now I'm a survivor.
The survivor. Okay. So the
Absolutely.
survivor over here. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. What age
Um,
was that?
Say that again.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You were saying you were a survivor of that. What age were you? How old were you at that time?
Um, my memory, my earliest memory of it is around five, from the age of 5 to the age of 12, around 12 years old. And I always remember, I remember, every person. So yeah, it was multiple people throughout my life, male and female. Um, so yeah, I have those experiences. I always remember the drama and the trauma in my household with my mother and my father. Um, that was a very abusive relationship, verbally, mentally. It became physical a couple of times, but not as much as it was verbally and emotionally for my mom. So I grew up in that type of environment, along with my grandfather, who was also, physically and psychologically abusive toward my grandmother. My grandparents were old my entire life, and I remember going to Johns Hopkins Hospital and visiting my grandmother when my grandfather literally knocked her eye out of socket. So this was the type of thing that I experienced and witnessed as a child. I witnessed um, a couple of uncles beating their wife slash and girlfriend. I witnessed my oldest brother beating the crap out of his girlfriend, even while pregnant, carrying his children. So this was the type of thing. This was the type of environment that was drama and trauma filled even as a child. So as I grew older and developed, never having seen what a healthy relationship looked like between a man and a woman, I guess subconsciously I attracted what was familiar,
Yes.
which was drama and trauma and abuse, because that was, again, subconsciously um, what normalcy looked like.
Yeah, you said earlier about the early sexual abuse, right?
Hmm.
At that time, going through that, when you encountered that, where were your mother? Where were your father? Where were your guardian?
They were around. I lived in the household with my mother and my father my entire life. Well, for the largest part of my life, my mother and father were married. They had four children between the two of them. My father fathered nine children. My mother was my father's third wife, and of course, his first set of children were closer to my mother's age than he was. And so my mother was there. My father was there.
How,
Um,
how did it happen? Was it well? It's obviously not a lack of guardianship because they were there.
no, they were there, but well, in the summertime, my mother opened her home up to foster children. My mother worked in the school system with students, um, teaching and assisting. And when the school system closed, my mother's income would stop. And
Right.
so my mother did other things to earn money to support her family, including opening her home to foster children and handicapped children. And so the foster children came in and they sexually abused us. And
So did you ever report it? Did your mother know about it? Did your father know about it? Did anybody else know about knew about it?
my mom, I did report it to my mother. Also, one of my brothers from another mother,
Yeah.
lived in our household, and he started the whole, incest thing. And so, yeah, he was about 18. He was 18 because his mom had put him out. And I remember being very, very young. And he sexually abused more than one of us as well. And so, it was like everywhere I went, somebody was touching me. My, people in my household, and then the babysitter's grandson. It was a host of people, male and female, who sexually abused me and assaulted me in my lifetime as a child.
That is that is sad to hear. And I'm what I'm trying to understand, right? Because oftentimes we hear on this program where this happen because the mother might travel out or the father might travel out, and then the child is left with secondary parenting. Their uncle they left to live with them, and then they're not as protective as their parents, so that happened. So for the life of me, I don't quite understand. It's like the people who's supposed to be there primarily to protect you failed you.
Yeah, well, my mother did the best that she could with the knowledge and information that she had. Incest, for whatever reason, has played a huge role in my family. It's definitely a generational curse.
Oh,
And so I am here to be the one to break that curse by speaking out and exposing light, because light and dark cannot exist in the same place at the same time. So I'm here to, um, tell my story,
yes.
and in hopes that others will come forward and be courageous enough to stop protecting the predators, and tell their story as well. It
That,
happens. It
that,
happens in a lot of families, and it's swept under the rug and it's kept quiet, and that type of thing. But it needs to be addressed. It needs to be talked about, because those types of things spill over in your life in other ways that cause you to choose unhealthy and dysfunctional relationships, because they reduce you at a very early age. They strip you of self love and value and worth at a
right.
very early age. And so when you don't grow up with that type of esteem, when you don't grow up loving yourself, when you don't grow up feeling worthy, then these types of things happen. And just like a dog can sense fear, a predator will prey on the weak, on what they see as weak or broken or hurt, and you become easy prey for them.
Yeah, yeah, I could totally understand that based on previous experiences. So that really broke you.
It
It
did.
it kind of also sung like you never really truly understand love or how to love or
Right.
even
Mm,
wanted to trust anyone with your heart.
right. Well, right. I mean, you don't. You don't know how to love because you don't know what love is because you've never seen it. And
Right,
not in a human form. You know, you read about it through religion and spirituality and that type of thing, but you don't know what it really looks like. Um, you don't know what that dynamic is between a man and a woman. You don't have any examples. When you don't have any examples, healthy examples set for you, how do you choose what you've never seen,
right,
what you've never witnessed up close and personal or experienced up close and personal? You tend to gravitate toward what is familiar, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you know that it's not good, you know that this is not what you want subconsciously in your mind, because it is what you have seen and witnessed and experienced. This is what is familiar. And it's that type of thing that we have to find a way to get out of and to break the cycle. I really wish that I would have had um, a mentor, a godmother, someone who was physically involved in my life to say, you know, this is not it. I know you love your parents, but this is not normal. This is not um, what love is. This is not what love. I wish I had someone to intervene and pull me to the side. A lot of times, especially now, we're so concerned and worried about people in our business, and
all right,
you
guys.
know,
I don't know if it's on my end or if it's on her end, but we're having some visual problems, the internet connection. Let's try to
okay,
fix that, resolve that, and come back. We have a lot to
okay.
talk about today, guys. We haven't even touched the meat of the conversation yet. We just had a little bit of a signal breakdown there, Irene. You're back with us?
I'm here.
All right, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, Irene, this is horrible, extremely horrible, especially if not dealt with, especially if not dealt
Address.
with, wanting to
Hmm.
address, because it plays on your mind psychologically. It could affect you. Let's move on a little bit because it wasn't addressed. You live with it. You basically had to live your life, try to form relationship. How was it for you meeting people, making relationship, building foundations?
Um, it's a lot more difficult for me now than it was before because I don't trust, and I just don't. And it's very lonely not living in a world where you feel like everyone is suspect. Um, my children also ended up being sexually abused, which is why I relocated and left the state of Maryland, the city of Baltimore, and moved south, 7 hours away, because my children had also been sexually violated by family members. Not
Mhm.
the same ones that I had, but that just goes to show how generational curses, until broken, will continue. So, yeah, and I did not know, and when I found out, I did take them to court. I did prosecute them. They got slapped on the wrist, but I did what I felt like I needed to do to show my children that this is not an acceptable behavior, that this will not be tolerated, that they didn't deserve it, that they are worth more, and I removed them, from that environment for that reason.
Well, I guess by you now, being through it and looking back at it, you're able to identify red flags.
I
And
am.
what are some of the red flags? How do you identify red flags even now, looking at?
um Identify red flags of a sexually abused child or person. A child that has been or is being sexually abused will become very withdrawn. They will be very angry. They go into a dark place and they shut down emotionally. So whereas you would have a child who is very happy go lucky, who likes to sing and dance and are involved in extracurricular activities, the child will no longer be interested in those things. The child will want to be alone in his or her room by themselves. You will definitely notice mood swings um, with the child, and just basically withdrawing. Sometimes the child will start having suicidal thoughts, feelings of hopelessness and helplessness. And so you have to definitely communicate with your children. Ask them. I always educated my children, always, from the time that they were able to talk. I always told them, if someone ever touches you in an inappropriate way, if someone ever touches your private areas or private space, you are to tell. And I don't care who it is, but that didn't happen. Those secrets were kept and they were held um, for many years. They were kept and they were held. But as soon as I did have knowledge of it, I acted immediately.
Let's talk about a specific relationship, and one of the specific relationship that really, really brought everything to a full, right?
Hmm.
Um, that specific relationship, which I want you guys to follow, all right? How did it start with that person? Was it love? Was it lust?
Hmm.
What was it?
I was looking for a savior.
Uh huh.
I was actually like I was looking for a savior. I was looking for someone to save me, to rescue me from from my misery, from my house, and to show me what love was. And I was 15 and he was 17, and neither one of us really, I mean, you know what love is, but you don't know how to have an adult relationship at 15 and 17 years old. We were both children. Um and so I guess we related to one another's dysfunction because his father used to abuse his mother as well.
Right.
His father used to physically abuse his mother. His mother actually learned how to drive running away from his dad. So yeah, that was and he was very gentle. He was loving, he was talented, he was sweet, he was mature beyond his years, as was I, because of things that we had endured. We had both endured in our lifetimes. And it had become violent between us on a few different occasions. Really violent. One time there were beepers back then. This was in 1994, 1995. We had beepers, and my pager had gone off one night and it was late, and he was asking me who it was, and I didn't know who it was because I didn't even have the pager. He did. He was reading the number off to me, and I didn't know who it was, but he, kept asking me, who is it, who is it, who was that paging you? And he actually held me over the banister by my ankles.
What?
He held me over the banister by my ankles and was dangling me over the banister, asking me who it was that was paging me. That was, I think it was the very first time. And all I could do was laugh. All I could do was laugh as a nervous reaction. Um, I laughed out loud because that's all I could do. But yeah, he dangled me over the banister by my ankles. And
But at that point in time, you didn't think to yourself, well, that's crossing the line. I probably should leave because the next thing he probably will drop me.
I was 16, and I was a mother of a 1 year old child, and he was the father of my child. And again, I was in love with him. Um, I wanted to have all of my children with him, and this was the first time. This was one of the first incidents that had happened. Um, this was normal to me. This was, again, what I grew up seeing in my household and throughout my family. This was normal to me. This was normal. This wasn't anything out of the ordinary.
So someone holding you by the ankles over a banister,
It was
dangling,
scary. Hmm. It was
dangling
scary.
you, that if you were, I mean, if he dropped you, you would have died. You would have ended up dead.
Yeah, or with a broken neck, paralyzed in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. Absolutely.
Right. And to a lot of people, a layman person watching, they'll say, well, that's way past, that's way crossing the line here.
Hmm.
Um, I would start to contemplate getting out of this thing, but you were in love.
I was in love, and this was normal. This was not outside of what I always, like I said, this is what I had witnessed. So, this was not abnormal. It wasn't. I had never seen my dad dangle my mom over the banister before. My mother didn't walk around with black eyes or anything like that, because my mother had a lot of brothers who were gangsters, and my father knew better.
Yeah.
Realistically, my father knew better, but they did. She was verbally and emotionally abused by him. He did push her one time, and she stayed too long. She stayed too long. And when we stay as long, mother is God in the eyes of her children. And
Yeah.
so when we stay too long in abusive relationships, our children look at us and think, okay, well, this is normal because mommy hasn't done anything to change it. So this must be what normal looks like.
Yeah.
And this is the mentality of your children when they are watching you being abused and tolerating too much because you don't know your worth and because you don't love yourself, versus drawing the line the very first time and never allowing it to happen ever again. And
Right.
so we have to be the change that we want to see, because it can't be a do as I say and not as I do type of thing. It has to be a situation where we actually set the example for our children that we want them to set for theirs.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's a part of breaking the cycle.
Guys, if you just joined us, we're talking to Erin. She just shared a very intimate story so far with us about, growing up and what she saw her mother doing to her father. It was a kind of like a generational curse type of situation. It happened,
What I
uh,
saw my father doing to my mom.
what her father was doing to her mom,
Right. Right.
and that she deemed as being normal. Now, a lot of people
Hmm.
who appeared on the program before, what we recognize and what we know for as a fact is that they, by growing up seeing these things, they sort of, you know, go through their own life. And in some cases, where we had one gentleman, he was abused as a child, and when he became an adult, he abused someone sexually, the same how he was abused.
Hmm.
So as it says, like hurt people,
Yes.
yeah. So that's where we are in the program. But it gets deadly, very deadly. Um, let's take a quick break, come up for some air. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how this situation ended up deadly. We'll be back. Don't move.
A message by the Grenada Distillers Limited.
You want a hand sanitizer to do three things: kill germs, be gentle, and to go where you go. You can get all of that in our hand sanitizer. Hard on germs, gentle on hands, affordable. Remember, hand sanitizers contain alcohol. Keep away from heat and flames and avoid contact with eyes. Available at retailers island-wide.
A message by the Grenada Distillers Limited.
Don't forget, if you're looking for this sanitizer, it's available right now in Grenada. Paste the link and information of the distributors on our page right here on Ridealong. We're talking to Erin, who's sharing her story with us. Erin, so this particular person who you deem as someone that you was in love with, you wanted to have all your kids with,
Mhm.
someone that you could see yourself growing old with, and put your trust in, give your heart to, um, he abused you in many different ways. How did you retaliate, or did you retaliate, or how did you fight back?
I didn't fight back until the night of November 19th, 1996. My son was 15 months old. I was 17 years old. And we had a verbal confrontation. And I picked up a knife and held the knife to kind of keep him away. And he ended up dying that night. One stab to the heart. And it wasn't really even a stab, it was um, him charging me with the knife in my hand. And he ended up dying. And then my whole world, as I had known it, had changed, had forever changed.
Oh wow.
Because, yeah,
Oh wow. So it came to the point where, I mean, it became so frustrating for you that you picked up that knife. Were you grand charging him? Were you, say grand charge from where I'm from, but were you just doing it as a way to just get him back, like to push back and leave me alone? Or did you
well,
intend?
I confronted him. Um, we were arguing, we had an argument. And I'm sorry for just swatting. I'm outside and, I'm being swarmed by mosquitoes. But
That's
yeah, I didn't charge him. That's not how it happened. And forensics, cleared that up. There was not a thing where I was charging him. That's not how it happened. I had the knife in my hand to kind of keep him away as I was confronting him and speaking my piece, saying what it is that I had to say. And he came toward me.
did you see that you had the knife?
He did, but I'm quite sure he didn't think that I was going to use it. I mean, I was 17. I was probably 123 pounds soaking wet. I'm 5'3 3/4, so 5'4", and he was 6'3". So yeah, I don't believe that he thought that that he took me seriously. This was the first time I ever picked up any type of thing to defend myself, and um, he had not hit me that day. He did not put his hands on me that day. It wasn't a thing where he had beaten me all day long, or it wasn't that type of thing. It was the type of thing where I I was a balloon. I became a balloon where all of these things in my life had already taken place with being sexually abused, being harmed, being beaten on, being mistreated. Um, all of these things had taken place in my life, and I was confronting him. And it was like a balloon that you continue to blow air into until eventually it pops. And that's exactly what happened. It was accidental. It was not intentional. He died with me still being very, very much in love with him. The whole world was spinning. The whole room was spinning around me, and I was standing still. It's almost like a movie that you would see. When it happened, he looked me in my eyes and he told me,
Take your time. Take your time. Folks, as you could imagine, that this is still fresh in her head, right? And this is not just a story. This is not just a number. This is life. This is serious stuff, right?
it is. But he looked me in my eyes and he told me, you stabbed me in my heart. And I didn't realize that he was speaking literally. I thought he was speaking in metaphorical terms. I thought he was speaking metaphorically. And this happened. It isn't fresh. This is 25 years ago. Um, but it still hurts, to think that I would even be capable of taking somebody's life, especially somebody that I had a child with that I still love and miss and wish that it never happened, but it did. And so that is my reality. Um, my son, my firstborn, is he's 26 years old now, and this happened when he was 15 months old, and it's still very hard to recall, but it's a cross that I have to bear, that I will bear for the rest of my life.
We have so many people hearing your story and sending out virtual hugs. We have Mo, Tamika Rogers, Lacey J, Deanne Fraser, Hummelin, everyone hearing your story. Um, is saddened with you.
It's a story, but it has to be told. It definitely has to be told, so that hopefully it can heal others and help others. To not have to go through this, to not have to recognize the red flags of violence and abuse, and
Yes.
to get out immediately, because I have learned also through experience the hard way that each time that it happens, it only gets worse. Yes, go in the house, please. Each time it happens, I'm sorry, it's my 4-year old.
No
Each time
problem.
it happens, um, and you allow it to happen, the longer you stay, the worse it's going to become. And it can start with something as simple as him physically playing with you, just to test your strength and to see how strong you are. Um, to see how skilled you are physically in defending yourself and that type of thing. Like, oh, couples play fight, yeah, but you need to realize that that's a sign when he wants to play fight in a way that's actually hurting you. Um, and you end up with bruises and that type of thing. Also, when they verbally abuse you, tell you that you're nothing, you're ugly, you're fat, they criticize you, you can do nothing right. Um, Always being compared to other females and that type of thing. Um, yeah, there are lots of red signs, red flags that a lot of times go ignored. We
Yeah.
ignore them. We see what we want to see because we want what we want when we want it, and yeah, it can definitely end up that way. It can also end up with you losing your life, and the reality of that picture is, I was um I was charged with first degree murder. 17 years old, very first time ever being in trouble with the law ever in my life, and it was something that serious. Um, I was acquitted of first degree murder and found guilty of voluntary manslaughter, which still looms over my head. I don't. I feel like it's very unfair that I was charged with voluntary manslaughter when I did not mean to kill that man. I was the one who called the police. I was the one who was there. Um,
So hold on. You after it was said and done, he was stabbed. I'm sure he was gushing. He was just there, and you stood there, and he while he died, literally in your hands.
in my arms, he actually didn't die. I think he died in the hospital, but
Sorry.
he
Go ahead.
he he walked away from me. He told me that I stabbed him in his heart, and again, it was like a movie when I was just standing there motionless, and the whole room was just spinning, spinning, spinning. It was like a movie. The whole room was spinning as I stood there. And I watched him as he walked away. And it happened in the living room, and he walked into the bedroom. And when he sat in the chair, when he went to sit down, he collapsed. And that's when instantly reality set in that, oh my God, something's wrong. And I ran over to him, calling his name and calling his name. And yeah, I had I witnessed his lips turning white, and I pulled his shirt up. When I pulled his shirt up, I saw that um he wasn't speaking metaphorically. He had been stabbed. I screamed his name and called him and shook him to try to get him to stay with me, to open his eyes. And I called the police and, told them I stabbed him, or, I think I killed him. Please, please send me help immediately. And I grabbed my son. He was in the crib in our room. He was 15 months old at the time. I grabbed my son and I ran. I left the apartment and I ran across the street, screaming and hollering, trying to get somebody to help me. And the police came to the scene and they took my son. That was the first time he had ever been separated from me. Um, they took him. His father's side of the family came, and they took me to jail, and they took him to his grandmother. And I was separated from my son for 6 months. It was 3 months that I was locked up, waiting for bail. I had no bail, and then I fasted for 10 days and 10 nights, just praying and asking that God would judge me according to the righteousness of my heart. That was my prayer, Lord. Regardless of what they're saying, oh, they spread all types of rumors and lies. I killed them over a love letter. I was just crazy, psychotic chick who just, of course, he was an angel and I was the devil. And I'm quite sure his family still feels that way, despite the numerous evidence um, that was revealed against him, even in court. I'm the devil and he's an angel, but he didn't deserve to die. I will definitely say that. He was he was he was 19 years old. I was 17 years old at the time, and he did not deserve to die. He didn't. And if I could turn back the hands of time, I would, but I can't. And this is a part of my story. Um, yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And it's a living nightmare. And even 25 years later, I am still being persecuted when it comes to seeking out certain careers and jobs. You would think, oh, it's so long ago. Yeah, but when they see that on your record, you know, um, when they see that on your record, you're a murderer. You are a murderer. You are a monster. It does not matter how it happened, it does not matter what the surrounding circumstances are. You are considered a murderer. And so Pac said, you don't have to go to jail to be doing time. That's true. So I was acquitted of, again, first degree murder. I was found guilty of voluntary manslaughter. I was sentenced to 15 years, Department of Corrections, all suspended but 3, and I served 3 on probation. And so it hasn't been easy.
Wow.
Yeah, it has not been easy. And even after that, I continue to get involved in relationships where I would be abused, even after that.
All right, let's just take a quick breather right here because I want to get the audience. There's a lot of people that's watching us right now that needs to get some of that strength or even give you some of those digital or virtual love. And I think they want to do that. I'm watching the comments here. I give you guys an opportunity to call in right now. This is the number. Excuse me, 718-701-5720. I want you guys to call in right now. Say hi, say something. Say just call in right now and speak to Erin. She's been through hell. This is a nightmare. It's not like it's something that she premeditated.
No.
It's obviously not premeditated, but it affected her life from 17 up to this point in time. And it festered up over this period of time because of what she's been through. So I want you guys to call in. This is the number 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we open up the phone lines to get your comments and calls. We'll be right back. Hey, I got some good news for you. Looking for a passionate immigration lawyer with experience that spans over 2 decades? Someone trusted that served immigrant families just like yours? Well, look no more. Now you can benefit from her personal and professional experience. Diane Winter Funde. Schedule a consultation now and get assistance with your immigration journey. Specialize in adjustment of status, B1 business visa, B2 visitors visa, consular processing, deportation defense, naturalization, and more. Give us a call today at 813-815-3529. That's 813-815-3529 or online at winterimmigration.com. Attorney Diane Winter Funde, law done differently. Guys, we are back. We're speaking to Erin, and she just shared her story here with us. Wow. If you guys just joined, you have to go back and watch the entire story. I don't want you to just snip through the program. I want you to watch the entire story from the beginning, because it would explain everything. It would explain why she acted the way she did, nothing could explain exactly the fact that someone died. And she's not here saying and gloating over the fact that someone died in the process, but it festered. And we could correlate what happened in her past, in her early upbringing, to how everything transpired. I want you guys to call in and talk with her right now. Let's open up the phone line, 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Let's see if we could open up the phone line as soon as someone call in. You guys could go right ahead. Right. Okay. All right. The phone lines are open up. Erin, you going through the process, going to jail, I'm going to court and dealing with it. When you look back at that point in time, they say hindsight is always 2020. What do you think could have been done differently?
Lots of things could have been done differently. When I was a little girl, I was very mature, and because of me being sexually abused at a young age, my body matured at an accelerated pace. And so even when I was innocent and was not even yet sexually active, I was too grown. This was my family members. Oh, she's too grown. When I became at 15 years old, one of the elders in my family, when my mother shared it with one of the elders in my family, she said, I knew she was growing. And that was not true. But instead of judging me and criticizing me, belittling me and talking about me behind my back, I wish that one of my family members would have mentored me, would have taken me under their wing, like I said earlier in the interview, and, and shown me something different, shown me something better, guided and directed me. But I did not have that. So I had to figure things out on my own. At the time, my mother was so miserable and unhappy in her own life and in her own marriage to my father that she worked 2 jobs so that she would not have to be home and deal with his verbal and psychological abuse. So we kind of raised ourselves when we were teenagers. And at the time of puberty and adolescence, you need your parents. You need somebody to guide you and direct you. If not, then I don't know of any other time that you need your parents more than in your adolescence. And so I was looking for love and acceptance. And, I found it through him. As temporary as it was, I found it through him. And He made me feel special. He would sing to me. He would write me poetry, and I never had that type of attention from a male before. Even in my adult life, I have not had a man write me poetry. I have not had a man, hold my hands and look me in my eyes and sing to me. He was very charming. He was a sweetheart. Um, he really was. And later in the autopsy reports, it revealed that he had heroin and morphine in his blood. The toxicology report came back saying that he had heroin and morphine in his blood. So it wasn't even him. That wasn't even, you know, um, conducive of his behavior. That's not who he was. That's who his addiction had him become. That's not who he was at all.
Yeah.
So I didn't know anything about. I was 17 years old. I had no knowledge. I had never um, smoked weed or anything, you know, at during that time at all. So he was definitely thank you, Lydia James. It's easier said than done. Forgiving yourself. It's a lot easier said than done. Um, but yeah, I had no way of knowing that he was on drugs. I had not had exposure to that type of thing in my life.
Yes.
So, you know, um, I had no way. He was 19 years old. I had no idea, but I was glad to know, to get those toxicology results back um, in court, because even though the damage had already been done and it was irrevocable damage that could not be changed or undone, at least it gave me some type of reason as to why he was behaving the way that he was, because I felt like it was my fault. Well, what did I do? What have I done? He had given me chlamydia 2 times. He he was just he was a 17-year-old kid, and well, he was 19. I was a 17-year-old kid. He was 19. He had been in the military. He had gotten put out of the military with an other than honorable discharge because he had beaten somebody with a pole. So he was just acting out, and it was because
And
of his addiction.
he had his own story to tell as well, I'm sure.
Right.
Story of, the abuse and how that affected him. We got a call on the line. Let's take this quick call. Caller live, go right ahead.
Good night. Good night to the viewers. Good night to Aaron.
Hello.
Yes.
I just called to give my support. It's Deanne, and I'm so touched by your story, and
Thank
I
you.
hope you can find it in yourself to forgive yourself. Telling the story, there are so many flaws in there that have really, it's tough to blame yourself. Especially you were a child at that time, and tough being treated as an adult even. You may have made adult decisions, but you were
Hmm.
literally a child.
I was.
I also, there's a viewer who keeps asking a question about how your son feels knowing, what had happened between you and his dad.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about that,
My
and
son.
ask the question and get off the live, though. Sorry.
Yeah.
um my son and I are extremely close. By the
Very.
grace of God, that is my first heartbeat, and we are extremely close. When he was a child, and when he was a young child, and he would ask me questions, I wouldn't talk about it. I would just tell him, that his father loved him, and that I loved his father, and that it was a mistake that I couldn't undo, but that if he had any questions later, that the records are open. It's public record. It's in Towson. I was
Right.
tried in Towson, Maryland, and anybody can go and look it up. Um, Anyone can go and look those records up. They are public record. And I told him, that when he became older and more mature, I would I love you, Jam. That I would, talk to him about it at that time. And so He grew up very angry.
Okay.
He grew up
Mhm.
very angry. There was um one incident in particular that I will never forget. He came in the house crying. I mean, just pouring tears like someone had turned on a faucet, opened a faucet, and he was just crying. I said, "Well, baby, what's wrong? What's wrong?" And I held him, and he said, there was a guy outside with his son, and they were just throwing the ball around, and he was crushed that he didn't have a father to do that with him, and that just rips my heart to shreds because I felt like it's just all my fault that I've taken this boy's father from him. And
I'm
it's just
sorry.
it felt so helpless and hopeless because it was like there's nothing that I can do to undo this. And I feel like if his father were here and he were clean and sober, that he would be an awesome father because he did love that little boy. He did. He really did. And so that crushed me. He grew up very angry. He grew up angry. He grew up without a positive male figure or male role model to look up to. Um, he had a godfather who was a member of my family who wasn't really. He's very positive, but he wasn't really an active member of my son's life, and nobody really did. Not I didn't have any uncle or cousin or friend or any positive male in my family at all to mentor him. And at one point in time, I remember calling around and asking people when he had started to get in trouble because he did not have a male to identify with. So he was, going out in the streets trying to find, what he did not have at home. My son is currently in prison right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um, but
I
he
thank
and I are
you for responding to my question.
no problem.
Very hard for you to talk about. And I also wanted to quickly ask, when it comes to repatriation, have you considered owning your own business? You may not be employed or given a chance to become a professional under somebody's business, but have
Right.
you thought of doing your own? And I'm going to leave it there because I don't want Junior, my boss, to
yeah,
kick me off the show. So
yeah.
I'm going to get out, but you have a good night. I'm going to go back into the chat room if you choose to answer that question. All right. Thank you so much, and you be well.
Thank you so much. Like I really appreciate it.
Well,
And
Okay.
um,
you.
yes, in the future I would really like to become a motivational speaker. I would really like to touch and change and transform the lives of millions. When I was incarcerated for the short time that I was, and I fasted and I prayed, for 10 days and 10 nights, and then the 11th day I came home. The Holy Spirit spoke to me during that time and told me that my testimony would change and transform the lives of millions, and that was you know, a long time ago. So it is beyond time. Every time we talk about things that harm us, that pierce our very soul, we are healing. Every time we talk about it, we are healing more and more. And by being willing to be a voice, prayerfully, I am saving somebody. I'm helping somebody. I'm helping somebody. And if I'm not helping, you directly, hopefully you as a woman will find a troubled child in your family, in your neighborhood, and you will reach out and mentor them so that they will not fall victim to the same types of abuse that I have fallen victim
I
to.
think you're absolutely helping a lot of people. People that's watching this program right here that have been through similar situations, and hopefully the mothers could share this with their daughters and sons, uh,
Yes.
because it's not only women. Everyone needs to hear this type of stories, and this is what gives us air. This is what gives us oxygen. This for us, this is the lifeblood. This is what makes us sleep good at night when we can have stories like this, what people could listen to, and their life could be essentially changed by it. So it is awesome. Before we wrap up with you, it's been a full hour, and I said I didn't want to take you much over the hour. A couple things as it relates to the lack of love, right? The lack
Hmm.
of self love. How is that
Yes.
responsible for continuing into this type, getting into different types of relationship?
Yeah. Um, Narcissistic relationships and yeah, when you lack the love of self, you will continue to sabotage yourself by putting yourself or allowing yourself to take part in abusive relationships, be they physical, emotional, psychological. It's another cycle that continues to go around and around until you love yourself enough to know your worth and to know that regardless of what you've been through and endured in your life, regardless of how you've been hurt and damaged and the attempts to break you that people have taken and made in your life, that you are worthy, that you are worthy of healthy love, that you are deserving of healthy love. And you don't have to look outside yourself. It starts within. And so I am on that journey myself right now. Once we start to love ourselves and to, as someone said, forgive yourself,
Yes.
then you start to realize that you don't have to put up with or take this type of abuse, and you will find a way out. You will create an exit strategy, and you will you will act on it, and you will leave, and you will not settle for or tolerate anything less than what you absolutely deserve, and that is whole and healthy love. But
Yes.
it has to start from within. Even if it starts with self talks in the mirror in the morning, you are smart, intelligent, beautiful, gifted, and worthy. You are deserving. You know, you have a beautiful spirit. You are forgiving. You are compassionate. That type of thing. And you just speak those things over your life and speak those things to yourself until you start believing them.
True. True. So true. Desires for the future, things that you're aspiring for your for the next couple of years.
Well, I
What?
have been writing an autobiography for so long, and it has been so difficult to finish because you talking about it is one thing. When you write it, you start unlocking memories and remembering things that you had forgotten, and it's a whole therapeutic and painful process.
Right.
But I intend to finish my autobiography. I intend to fulfill the prophecy of me changing and transforming the lives of millions by continuing to tell my story
Yes.
locally, nationally, and internationally so that I can touch and change and hopefully save some lives by being a voice about a voice on domestic violence, but incest and sexual abuse and rape as well as
Yeah.
self love and redemption.
Yeah. Lydia James is saying very, very powerful here that there isn't testimony without a test.
Yes, absolutely.
And that is so true. Well, listen, Erin, we thank you so much for sharing your story here with us. A lot of people will want to get in touch with you. People would like to get some of that strength that you have. How could people reach out to you? How could what kind of what social tags would they could get you at? What?
Okay, I am on Instagram at talks with underscore Aaron, Erin, Monique, Monique. I'm also on Facebook as Aaron Monique, and I can be reached at Aaron's World, ErinsWorld, the numbers 816 at gmail.com. I'm on YouTube under Inspirations with Aaron Monique, where I talk about incest and sexual abuse, rape, domestic violence, and that type of thing as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. We thank you so much. And last question here that just popped up. Going forward, how would you ensure that your son will not become an abuser and your daughter will not fall in victim of the same type of abuse that you have endured?
By making sure that I'm in a healthy and loving environment to raise them in. So freeing myself of all types of or any type of abuse around them. And if that means raising them as a single mother without a male in the home, then so be it. But
Yeah.
I just have to make sure that they repeat what they see, meaning love and strength, self respect, self love, and that they know that they are worthy and very deserving of the best, and not that it's not okay to be abused. So I have to make sure that I'm not in that type of relationship or that type of toxic environment.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Erin, once again, thank you. We're gonna put the links for your page, for your contact. We're gonna put it over on the Ride Along page for everyone that got want to get in touch with you. And I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of people. I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of viewers coming over to your page to find out more about you, checking you out on YouTube and Instagram, and also here on Facebook. Erin, thank you so much for sharing with us, and we're absolutely gonna keep in touch with you. Okay, Erin?
Thank you for having me, and thank you all for your love and encouraging words. I really appreciate it.
I will
Thank you.
survive.
Thank
I
you.
will survive.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Irene,
I got to stay.
when we say that everyone have a story to tell, wow. Irene, absolutely. I mean, she hit the nail on the head where everyone have a story to tell. Her story, powerful, strong. She went through the whole damn thing. She went through the whole damn thing, and it ended someone's life, and that is sad because I'm sure that there's family. If someone lost their brother, someone lost their son, um, a child lost their father. So it is not something that we hear glorifying by no means. I'm not here tapping Erin on the back and say great job. No, absolutely not. It is sad on both sides. It is absolutely sad on both sides. And as we continue to look at domestic violent month, this whole month of October, domestic violent month, it is very important that we as men talk to other men, talk to our brothers, and ensure that they are not doing these things. We condemn these things. We're not gonna high five or homeboy if we know that he's going home and abuse his wife or abuse his girlfriend or family member. Right? We as men need to take the fall on that. And women, you guys need to come together and empower one another. Forget the fighting down and the this and the that. And yo, we need to empower one another. We need to empower one another. We need to be each other's keeper, right? We need to be an heir. We need to be a post, a pillar. Yeah, I think that's why people exist, because everybody don't have all the strengths to endure all the obstacles that they face in their lifetime. I have some very low points in my life. As much as I tell you, I come here sometimes and I mean, I have times in my life that I'm like banging my head, like, how do I get to the next post? How do I get to the next project? How do I complete these things, right? There are times everybody go through it, but I deal with it because I have a lot of support around me. And minus the support, minus the love, minus the Mo and the Lynn and the Deanne and all these people who keep me very, very focused when everything seems like it's going downhill, I don't know how I would be able to manufacture the strength to come on here on a daily basis to give people some of that strength or build on some of those strengths. So we all need those people. We all need people in our lives. So here's what I want you to do as a challenge, guys. Be a listening ear. When someone call you and they really need to talk to you or they need to get some stuff off their chest, it's not an opportunity for you to take that information and broadcast it out. There's some people that just want a listening ear. They just want to sit and tell you their story. They're going through some trials and tribulations in their life. And just listening sometimes could change this person's trajectory on life. Some people are on the verge of a precipice. They are standing on the pillars. They are on the tip of a roof ready to jump off, sometimes literally. And just a listening ear could revert their mind, may revert their action. Be a listening ear, guys. And if you are going through domestic abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, please, there are many different ways that you could get support. Hermelin had produced a list of things that people could do if they're going through domestic situation. Hermelin has a group. She's been through it as well. So we urge you guys to be involved in support groups that would help you to empower yourself. And if you have that uplift, you have that strength, use that strength to empower others. All right? That's why we're here. That's why we are here. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate Irene. We're going to put all the information for Irene so you guys could go and check her out and get some of her strength. And Petra, thank you so much. Tamika. So I was telling you guys, right? And I'm going to do a full vlog on this, right? So I'm going to turn the corner now on what happened to me. The story I was telling you guys from the beginning. So there I was going to Canada for Thanksgiving. The agent didn't give me my travel document. Search all over my car, the travel document is there, not there. When I realized it, I was half a mile past the agent booth, right? So I'm like, I got to go back, but I can't drive back. I had to walk back. So I walked back to the agent only to find out that I'm in restricted territory between the USA and Canada, right in the middle. Sirens going off, motion sensor picking me up. And I'm like, what the hell? I had to put my hands in the air like this and walk back only to find out I'm in a place that I should not be. Anyway, I was wearing a mask, this mask that says black privilege. So that's why I'm like, yo, I'm like prime target. So I look at the building to see if there would be anybody there that's coming. And I was thinking the worst thing, scared as shit. I was scared as hell. Police came up to me and asked me what I'm doing there. I explained it to them. Anyway, they were nice, by the way. After a while, they was nice. After I explained to them what happened, they went back to the counter and they couldn't find my documents. They couldn't find my documents. They couldn't find my documents. No way they couldn't find my documents. Anyway, guys, they said, well, you just have to leave and call, and they're going to have to do it like that because they cannot find it. I cannot find it. It's not in the car. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get back to America? I can't get back to America without travel documents. I have nothing. Anyway, long story short, I searched all over. Long story short, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? When I thought that I lost my travel document, nothing so. I will tell you the story in a vlog tomorrow. I'll do the vlog. I will show you guys the video. I will show you where I actually found the travel document. And you wouldn't believe where I found the travel document. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I'm doing a full vlog with it tomorrow. You guys going to see me walking back and all of that stuff. Crazy stuff. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of our program. Don't forget, if you have a story to share, Ridealong platform is the platform for you. Also, if you have a business that wants to advertise, Ridealong Live. Get your business advertised right here on the ride. Okay? Ah, boy. You wouldn't believe where those travel documents was. You wouldn't believe. I'll share it on a video post tomorrow. Anyway, guys, ah boy. Anyway, I'm back in America. What Deanne say? Don't leave at the part where I was crying. I ain't gonna lie about it. I was sad. I was freaking sad. I cried. So what? Men could cry. So what? Anyway, guys. Peace out, guys. Catch me tomorrow. A Ridealong Live. Tomorrow on the ride, we have it's a Patrick Antoine. It's going to be a very, 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 it's going to be a long ride along tomorrow. Patrick Antoine is going to be on the ride. We're going to pose some tough questions. He's starting a new NGO. He started a new NGO called TGM, the Grenada Movement. And it's going to be a lot to talk about tomorrow with Patrick and Twine. Tomorrow on The Ride. Catch me tomorrow, guys. Peace out. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
You gotta be firm in this time, son. You gotta be strong in this time, son.
Oh, also, guys, I got to tell you guys about this. Don't forget the Ridealong $1,000 shopping spree. If you have a friend or family member that you think that would benefit from our $1,000 shopping spree, please inbox us or download the app, download the emoji app, and insert that person name into our list. We're gonna spin the wheel, and someone is gonna win $1,000 shopping spree. The first one is gonna be in Grenada, but we're spreading it out throughout the region. Okay, so if you know somebody that might or would benefit from our $1,000 shopping spree, please let us know. I will put that information out there, and someone's gonna win. Someone's gonna win big. Yeah. If you need more information, guys, how to enter someone's name, inbox Ridealong Live and we'll let you know. All right. Also, if you want to donate to the cause, you could also do that. Please inbox us and we'll give you all the information. Peace out, guys. Catch me tomorrow.
Put my trust in God. Put my trust in God. That simple means say nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can drain my energy. Nobody can hold me sick. I will not allow negativity. Nobody can hold me, man. Nobody can drain my energy. Nobody can. Yo, just show me some strength. No weakness. Show me a lion come. Strength. No weakness. Show them who we are. Strength. No weakness. Show me a lion come. Everybody's strength. No weakness. Show them who we are. That's when you're old. Your enemies, they must tremble. Your enemies, they must tremble. Yo, that's when you're old. Everything has to humble. Everything has to humble. Right now, you have tougher and still. On this battlefield, you have tougher and still. Shoulders to the wheel, you have tougher and still. On this battlefield, you have tougher and still. Yo, just show me some strength. No weakness, show me a lion come. Strength, no weakness, show them who we are. Strength, no weakness, show me a lion come. Everybody strength, no weakness, show them who we are. That's when you're old. Your enemies, they must tremble. Your enemies, they must tremble. Yo, that's when you're old. Everything has to humble. Everything has to humble. Strength. 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 Strength.
A message by the Grenada Distillers Limited.
You want a hand sanitizer to do three things: kill germs, be gentle, and to go where you go. You can get all of that in our hand sanitizer. Hard on germs, gentle on hands, affordable. Remember, hand sanitizers contain alcohol. Keep away from heat and flames and avoid contact with eyes. Available at retailers island-wide.